Hyundai has two flagship SUVs. We have the new Palisade that was just redesigned. I drove it last month, absolutely loved it. I can't wait to test it more. And then on their fully electric end, they have this thing, the IONIQ9. This is the calligraphy. This costs almost $80,000, does 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. Has a really impressive range. We'll talk about that in today's review. Is this the Hyundai flagship you should be spending your cold hard cash on, or should you just be saving about 20 grand and getting an equally equipped Palisade? This year I've driven the Volvo EX90, the ID Buzz, two other 3-row EVs that will compete directly with this. Last year I drove the Kia EV9, really impressed with that vehicle as well. So what we're gonna do after we're done reviewing this, we're gonna head into the office, look for deals, cross shop this vehicle a little bit, and then also rank it. Is it as good as the Palisade? Is it as good as other 3-row EVs I've tested? Today we'll find out. To pop the hood, there's actually a cover, and then you have to pull this twice. All right, there's no hood latch or anything in here. This does not open very high, unlike the EX90, for example, or I mean, we do have shocks on each side, but very clean under here. There's no engine, of course. We do have where Hyundai would put the charger in here. You also have a vehicle to load adapter in here as well. Tire mobility kit, so no spare tire. Decent amount, I would say a decent amount of little cargo space in here. All right, you can also access your 12-volt battery in there as well. Air filter replacement for the cabin. That's kind of in a nice location, to be honest. Windshield wiper fluid. And this aluminum hood has some really nice padding on the inside. But let's get into the details of this vehicle. The Hyundai's 800-volt architecture, that's what this is built on. It's built in the new Meta plant in Georgia, this vehicle, alongside the IONIQ 5. All right, EV tax credit at the time of this recording is about ready to be discontinued, so that might not benefit this vehicle that much at all going forward. It does have a 111 kilowatt hour battery, and I'm pulling up my phone because this vehicle can become spec'd in many different, I guess, power configurations. You can get it in rear wheel drive, which is going to give you the least horsepower, of course. And that comes in at 215 horsepower. For this sort of size of vehicle, I mean, that's not the sort of power I would be looking for. The minimum would be the first dual motor, and that has 303 horsepower. That is going to be sufficient. 0 to 60 probably about 7.5, 8 seconds. Not blazing quick by any means, but definitely quick enough for this sort of vehicle. All right, the top grades like the Limited and the 2 calligraphy trims come with the higher performance dual motor output, which have 422 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. Now, Hyundai estimates over 300 miles of range on all their trim levels. I'm seeing 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour. I would say on average 3.4, but I have been idling this vehicle a lot with air conditioning running this week, and it still is getting 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour in town. I don't know what it's going to be on the highway, so part of this review today is going to be testing that highway range and efficiency. But at 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour in town, that destroys something like the ID Buzz, which was about a whole kilowatt hour less. That was like 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour in town. And this has more performance and is way more efficient. And the range of the battery is bigger. Like, this is a fantastic 3-row EV in terms of range and efficiency. And 0 to 60, as I'll show you right now, is pretty darn good. And there's 60. 0 to 60 there was 4.77 seconds, and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5 seconds. That is quick, and you can see the roads are a little wet. Oh man, that closes like a true luxury vehicle. I'll show you guys the difference between the lights on and just the daytime running lights. Here's the daytime running lights. Lights are on. And the front end of this vehicle, I guess a lot of people say on the forums, the Reddits out there, that this looks like an Isuzu Axiom. I think it looks like a 2010, especially from the back, like a 2010 Mitsubishi Outlander. It's got a lot of different styling vibes to it, but the front end is definitely unique. I mean, you can tell this is I guess it's very similar to the Palisade that I just drove, the new one. It's very smooth and rounded off, very boaty in the front, I guess you could say. A strip of these squares across the front for the daytime running lights. just completely smooth down here. You also have squares hidden behind the sensor bar. Radar cruise controls here. You have 360 camera here. You have these flaps for better aerodynamics, or it opens up to allow for better cooling. These lights are really, really high end. I mean, what is there? There's 12 lights on each side, which is just insane. And then you have all these little mini LEDs in here as well. Just absolutely beautiful headlight display here. And the blinkers are pretty cool. This paint color is $1,000. When you're spending this much money, who cares? Honestly, I haven't been looking at the IONIQ9 very much. I've been driving it, throwing kids in here this week. I mean, this roof line is just radical, how much it slopes back, and just the hard sheer runoff of a cliff on the back end here. It's like, you know, running out of the barrier reef and going into the drop off. That's kind of what this looks like. And this is where you charge it. It is automated. It does have the NACS charging port. This will charge up to 350 kilowatts peak charging, 10 to 80% in like 25 minutes. This thing is an absolute monster. If the charging stations aren't full today, I'll try to charge this thing DC fast charging to give you guys more impressions there. You know, this top of the line calligraphy has 21-inch wheels. You can get 20s on like the SEL. For example, the base grade has 19-inch wheels, if I remember correctly. So you would think in theory, the smaller the wheels, better efficiency. Even with these 21s, I'm seeing incredible fuel efficient or energy efficiency here. See the pop out handles here? Unfortunately, only the front one is smart key access, but as you walk up to the vehicle, the handles pop out and it unlocks. So, you know, I just can't lock it from back here, for example, only on the front door. Now the wheel arches, this is one of those Hyundai things where it just feels a little over stylized. You know, on the base grades, these are just kind of like matte black, which look better. And then on some of the grades, this is paint matched, while this is black, which I think looks cool. But with it all being silver here, it just doesn't look right on the front or the back with these over stylized wheel arches. I mean, from every angle, the IONIQ9 just looks absolutely crazy. I think from the side though, if you can get over the wheel arches, this is where it kind of strikes my eye and gets my attention the most. I'm curious to see what the rear brake lights look like for you guys. I mean, it looks like we have lights all over the vehicle, or should I say around the hatch area. I'll turn the blinkers on for you as well. Maybe the reverse, because like the lights are just so unique in here. I feel like I want to give you that little sampling of what this vehicle looks like from the back. Of course, I'm never going to be seeing it because I'm driving it. All right, so huge rear window. Very smooth. Look how smooth the top of this is. Other than the roof rails, right? There's no like shark fin antenna. Everything about this has been really designed for aerodynamics. The windshield wipers tucked up underneath. The Hyundai logo is inside the glass. IONIQ9 there, stamped in. Nothing really stands. The H-Track badge here, which is Hyundai's all-wheel drive badge, is the only thing that's really like sticking out. And it's just by a couple of millimeters there. All right. At the bottom, parking sensors, we have a backup camera and a digital rear mirror here. More little, I guess this could be a reverse light. You guys probably saw that, some reflectors here at the bottom. And everything underneath the vehicle is just completely smoothed out and covered with plastic. I have actually not opened up this week the rear hatch, so this is going to be fun. And this is pretty decent behind the third row of seats. And look, and I like the dual shocks here, all the headroom I have. If you're 6'2", 6'3", you might start running into some issues there. All right, but in the back, here's my charging cable. It has the NACS, but up front, you know, I have the bag up there as well as the adapters. Here's vehicle to load as well. Pretty cool. There's the NACS adapter, or you know, the NAT where you plug it in the port. So, and over here we actually have a AC 125 by 15 amps. So I'll go ahead and put what kind of wattage that is putting out here. I also have third and second row seat control. They have booster seats in it, but there are buttons here to fold them down and fold them up, just like the Palisade does on the higher trim levels. On this side, I have another hatch button and a 12 volt, and I like the accessory lights on each side as well. All right, third row seats, I can press that button. This being the top of the line calligraphy, everything's pretty much electrified here, which takes forever with little kids. Honestly, since this is captain's chairs, they would just go through the middle instead of waiting for that seat to slowly move forward. All right, so let's get in the back. Let's talk about the back. We just have two seats in the back here. Leg room, well, maybe I should put this back. I can't do it from here, oddly. I have to press the button again. I can't just pull it back. It's kind of fixed in place. Legroom, well, yeah, it's not as far back as it can be, but my legs are a little tight here. But I do have 7 USB-Cs in this car, and all of them, I think but one, are rated at 100 watts. I also have recline control back here, big old window in the back, vents right above my head. This top of the line has the suede roof line, of course. I mean, these seats are pretty comfortable back here, honestly. And if I move this seat forward, yeah, I don't like these seats at all. They're a little scary, to be honest. I don't like them whatsoever. Like it, I want to get out of here. A lot of it's user error, but they're very strong, and so you don't want to get caught in this seat. So that's something to maybe consider if you have little kids, because they're pressing buttons, like you could absolutely get trapped with these seats. So not a big fan of them. Maybe if you have adults in the car, more so than little kids, but definitely I would be getting, after playing with these seats, they don't make any sense to me, or they're not very intuitive, should I say. So I would be getting a lesser model that don't have mechanized seats. In fact, like I could see one of my kids sitting in here and they press this button because they're sitting behind them, and then that kid gets, you know, sandwiched. So I don't even want to think about that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of these mechanized seats. Big old doors, and they do open up nice and wide, which is great for kids. Window shades here, privacy glass. This calligraphy has like these perforated door inserts, which are kind of nice. Circular little door handles, kind of cute. Real small cup holders there. Bose sound system with this kind of an aluminum-like plastic grille. IONIQ9 floor plates here. You know, these seats are fantastic. They're really comfortable. This top line has heated and ventilated seats here in the back. I have tri-zone climate control. I can open the storage compartment here that I share with the front seats from back here. I also have additional storage down here. And this all feels really high quality, this stuff. In fact, maybe a little too sticky. My kids would struggle to open these things back here. Again, USBs on the seats. I can move this seat forward and back, which is kind of nice. And yeah, the panel roof. Kids love the panel roof. I have lights above, again, vents above once again. And I want to say the IONIQ 5 has vents over here and maybe vents down here as well. I just have up top vents here in the IONIQ 9. Now this seat is all the way back. Oh, no, it's not. I was kidding. Now it's all the way back, and I do have ottomans, which is kind of cool. Ottomans do absolutely nothing for me. Even though there's an ottoman on this side, which doesn't make any sense, to be honest, because unless you're like 4 feet tall, like a small child, you wouldn't be able to use it. You'd have to use it on this side and move this seat all the way forward. And again, it's just going to take some time to do. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be, I'm going to be impressed here. This is definitely a VIP machine. I could see if you are a chauffeur driver, you're like a luxury ride hailing service or something, this could make sense for you. I mean, this is still comical because the ottoman only goes halfway to my calves, so not really that luxurious. In fact, it's more comfortable, and this is it. This is as far back as I can go, so I can't lay down all the way. It's more comfortable if my seat doesn't have the ottoman up because it's cutting my calves in half. So I mean, it's cool, but it's completely unnecessary. I'm going to say these ottomans are not going to be used hardly at all. Now time to move this seat back. And I have to hold it, by the way. I can't just like press one button, and then I have to do the top cushion too. Ta-da! All right, on the inside, massaging seat button, that catches my eye. I'm turning that baby on right away. Memory seats here on this side, not on that side. These seats, they're 10 out of 10, really comfortable. I even have ottomans on these seats, just like I have on the back seats. Very similar seat design between the two, the front seats and the second row seats. Why do I have an ottoman here in the front? Well, the answer is if you're going to be wasting a lot of time public charging, maybe you would have the benefit of relaxing, laying back, chilling. that sort of thing. What you're seeing is the calligraphy. So this is the nicest of the trims. You see this kind of like light gray interior here. I really like it. You know, two-tone darker gray, lighter gray, or kind of like this beige. I really enjoy it. However, you can't get anything other than black on the SE or the SEL. Okay, those only come in black interiors, and I think the base grade rear wheel drive S has gray cloth or black cloth. When I was doing the builder, it's really hard to get gray or a lighter interior on this vehicle, which when you're spending over 60K, because that's where the base grade starts, when you're spending over 60K and it's hard for you to get the interior choice that you want, that's a bit of a swing and a miss. All right, but let's focus on what we have here on this calligraphy edition. Digital rearview mirror, 360 camera in terms of features, head-up display, camera button is right here. For example, I have one wireless charger here, 3 USBs down here, 2 trays, 1 deep tray. I put some food in this week. 180 watts of 12 volt accessory power. Volume knob right here off of the steering wheel, fantastic. You also have auto climate control knobs, which is great. This panel is touch capacitive, but this stuff doesn't move. So it's always up, it's always easy for me to get to with my ventilated seats. And fan control, defrost, I've been using that quite extensively this week because it gets foggy down here where I live. Bose sound system, it's okay. It's not going to wow anyone by any means. It kind of gets loud, but it doesn't sound that great when you push it that hard. Anyways, it's serviceable for this price point. We have this like aluminum dash. My kids love it. I still don't know what to think of it. I think it looks kind of cool. I like how they're taking chances here, so I don't mind this aluminum dash. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's also in this car lots of ambient lighting. The kids love it. You see it under the screen, under the dash, in the armrest. It goes to the second row as well, in the footwells, that sort of thing. So good tech, I guess you could say. 2 12-inch screens. You have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Sirius XM. Here's your EV page that I really appreciate. I just kind of leave this up and dork out over it. You have battery preconditioning, so when we're heading to the charger today, we can do battery preconditioning and go from there. That should help it charge faster. It's a Sunday, so I'm assuming the Tesla chargers are going to be very packed. But yeah, I mean, I can pull up different chargers here. I can do it on my phone as well. There is some availability at the Tesla charger station, so that's good, but that's right now. And you do have a couple places like this FPL one, plug-in charge capabilities, Hyundai Pay, so that's kind of neat. Anyways, if you're charging at home and rarely charging on the go, you don't have to worry too much about this stuff. This does have a scheduler if you want to schedule when it charges, that sort of thing. All right. I've put almost 200 miles on it this week before today's review. So I've been driving it a lot, taking my kids to school. I've spent over 9 hours in this car this week. So yeah, in that time, 3.4 miles per kilowatt hours. Really, really impressive for this size and weight of vehicle. Drive select's right here. You turn the car on and off with this. I have these cool little message lights here, the 4 dots, which is H Morse code. I always want to say Braille because it feels like it should be textured, but paddle shifters here. I'll talk more about the regen braking that affects here in a little bit. Oh, you know what? There's a button on the front. I forgot. Yes, you have the mechanical override for the hood, but you also have a button you just press twice and it'll open the hood. I did that the first time around. I forgot that was there because I'm so used to old school popping hoods the mechanical way. I do like there's a dash here so I can play with the touchscreen while I'm driving. I can brace it. The AC in here has been rock solid, like A+, really cold AC. And it is easy to play with the rear AC individually too, but I just sync it with the front AC and the kids are typically pretty happy with that. Tuning knob, I even have a tuning knob. I love that. That is crazy. It's not working right now unless I go into the Sirius app. Okay, so that's kind of a miss. This steering wheel, I really like it. I think it's clean. I like the physical buttons. However, with this lighter trim, this vehicle has less than 5,000 miles and I'm starting to see discoloration on this. So if you want to get this trim, maybe put on gloves. So that is a bit of an annoyance that it's discolored at 4,700 miles. And what is the rest of the interior? I mean, I see a little discoloration on the armrest too. So maybe black's a better choice. I mean, at least for durability and hiding dirt and that sort of thing. But I've had some really minor annoyances this week with the vehicle, other than the discoloration on the steering wheel. So the headrests stick out really far, and I typically haven't been wearing my hat backwards, but I have to lean the top cushion back a little bit because the headrests come out really far and push your head forward. So awkward headrest comfort. The windows are not soft close, something I would expect, and the doors are not soft close either. I know that's more of a Genesis thing, but hey, it's $80,000 almost for this calligraphy. Give me soft closing doors and give me soft closing windows. And the other zing is, well, when we're driving. So let's get on the road. Even on the base grade, the adaptive dampers come standard. All right, the ride quality in this week in the IONIQ 9 has been great. Even with these large 21-inch wheels, this road is not that smooth. That has not stopped the IONIQ 9 from having really good ride quality. And let's talk about quietness. I believe every grade has laminated glass on the front and back windows and the front windshield. So this thing's a Volt. It's super quiet. I don't hear hardly anything from the outside. There's hardly any road noise. So in terms of luxury, when you're thinking just luxury, I know it's not a luxury brand. This is not a Genesis from Hyundai. Like, this is a luxury vehicle through and through. I have all the features. I have the NVH, like there's no vibration because there's no engine. There's no noise coming from the engine or the wheels. And everything's sealed around me. Like, it's a very well built, even though this is built in the Meta plant, it's a brand new plant. This thing is seemingly, the build quality is fantastic on it. The ride quality, everything about it screams luxury. So they've nailed it. It's way better experience than I had in the ID Buzz. I'm not having as much fun as I did in the ID Buzz, but this is a better vehicle objectively. All right. And compared to the Volvo EX90, infinitely better. All the controls I could want, that I can just reach out and literally touch physical buttons most of the time. All right, and the Volvo didn't even have a volume. Oh no, it did have a volume knob, but it didn't have any like climate control. Everything was baked through the screen. The windshield wipers were trash on it. It was just like, that was also, it rode really well. The ride quality might have been a little bit better on the Volvo, but honestly, this vehicle, I'm so much more happy and at home in here compared to that Volvo EX90. All right, acceleration here is bonkers. 0 to 60, well, it's a little bit drier today. Maybe I'll do a 0. Do you guys want to see an updated 0 to 60 here? And we're gonna go. All right, there we go. I don't know. It's not as fast as it was the other day. I'm not quite sure. Maybe the battery's not warmed up. That was faster. That was 5.3 seconds. I don't care really about 0 to 60 on this car. It's fast as heck. And for three-row family hauler, if I ever go full speed in this, maybe it's only on the highway if I have kids in here, and they would be throwing up if I did that all the time. So yeah, 5.3 seconds, but again, I showed you 4.6 something earlier. So it's like, it's fast. Who cares if it's consistent with the 0 to 60s, because that power and that torque's instant. All right, but back to the paddle shifters here. I'm gonna get back into normal mode. There we go, normal mode here. Level 1, all right, 0 level is, it just coasts. I don't like that. I like to have just a little bit of regen on level 1. But once I go to level 2, level 3, and then iPedal, which is level 4, they're all really difficult to bring this vehicle to a stop smoothly, at least for me. And my kids were getting a little bit car sick as a result. So I just stick with level 1 recharge on the regeneration side of things with the paddle shifters. And I use most of the braking with my foot because I can control the brake pedal deceleration a lot better than the gas pedal acceleration in this vehicle. IONIQ vehicles, they are really good with one pedal driving, but for some reason in this one, I don't think it's quite as smoothed out. I don't think it's quite as good. The IONIQ 5N has the best one pedal driving in the IONIQ lineup. The IONIQ 5 by itself, non-N, is still pretty good. IONIQ 6, one pedal driving is pretty good, but for some reason on this vehicle, it doesn't seem as refined in that regard. Again, so I'm using my foot as the primary braker here, and then throw it in the turns. Low center of gravity, decent grip. It handles really well. I think it might handle better than the Palisade, which weighs a lot less. So the handling is fine here. It's not, I mean, you don't want to push it past like 70%, but up to 70% it feels pretty good. You know, the Tesla Superchargers I'm 3 of 8 spots here, meaning there are 5 open spots. So I'm happy that I'm not jostling over for or waiting for a charging station here. Charging, even though this is labeled as a 250 watt station for Tesla, I am only getting 49 kilowatts of DC fast charging right now, which is a bust. So I've seen it charge faster here before. I'm at 39%. So it should be charging pretty fast right now, like well over 100 kilowatts. We've seen this week 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour, 3.6, 3.4, averaging around 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour. So pretty good week. Also a 3.5 there yesterday. So it's looking good. We're up to 90 kilowatts now. So it's continuing to increase its rate here, thankfully. It says charging time, it'll take me 52 minutes from about 39. There's an EV9 up there. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. It's going to take me about 50 minutes to go from around 40% to 100%. Now I'm not going to go to 100%. Now what's crazy here at the now something also to consider, Tesla's charge from the back left, this charges from the back right. This port is perfect for me, honestly. You just kind of have to make sure that you don't have to dance around too much around the chargers. I picked the one furthest to the left and parked to the left of the charger so I could plug it in to the right of me. We're happily charging at about 96 kilowatts right now, and I like how the Tesla app, let me pull it back up, I like how the Tesla app also tells me what it's charging at. The car tells me 96.9, the app says 96. We are now up to 126 kilowatts. I'll take that. That is going to speed up the time just a little bit. It still says 48 minutes, but yeah, let's keep hoping this kilowatt situation goes higher and higher here. Already been charging for 6.5 minutes, and I've only got about 7% charge on my battery. Now the software in here is pretty fantastic. I'm at the charging limit part of the software. At 100%, it tells me I'll have about 400 miles of range. Again, that's city range, very optimistic. But it's telling me it's going to take 47 minutes to get to 100%. If I crank it down to 90, it says, well, it's only going to take 29 minutes now. So the last 10% charge is really slow to protect the battery, right, for longevity. But it says, hey, at 90%, you'll have 359 miles of range, and you'll get to 90% in just 29 minutes. Now, most people will probably charge to 80% unless you're on a road trip, right? So 80% is going to take me 20 minutes. I'm at 49% right now. So 50 to 80% at this charger takes 20 minutes. And again, you know, you can have the fastest charging in the world, but if you're not close to that fast of a charger, you're always going to be limited by the charging station itself, more times than not. All right, leaving the Tesla Supercharger. And no, I wasn't going to wait to fill it up. I'll just charge it at home. But it's, you know, I had to give you guys that data. All right, so here we are. We're going to be merging, and obviously, like, this thing has all the power in the world to merge into the freeway traffic. You're always going to be held up more than likely by people in front of you. Maybe that Volkswagen Atlas or something holding everyone up. I don't know. All right, so let's talk about how this thing is at highway. This is my first time driving a highway, so this is real-time impressions here. Here's a 75. Let's see if I push radar cruise control here. Head-up display, crystal clear, tells me my speed, also lets me know that the steering's locked in with a green indicator. It also recognizes the cars around me, but it's not nearly as like distracting is the Audi Q5's head-up display. That thing was complete trash. I had to turn it off because it's just shine at you all the time. Super aerodynamic, so we're not getting the vehicle being pushed around at all. I mean, it's heavy too, so that helps. All right, so now I'm gonna zero out my miles per kilowatt hour here, and we're going 75. So whatever it averages here at 75, that's what we're going to bank on, and actually undershoot that. And the reason is because you want to be on the conservative side when it comes to highway range. So it's telling me 3 miles per kilowatt hour, but it's just pacing off this Avalon now, which is going slower than 75. All right, so it's 70 to 75 range, right? Very few people, unless you're on I-80 in Nebraska, or can you just lock it in at 75 and will it keep it? Because there's just a lot of traffic here, even on the interstate. All right, so the speed will fluctuate a little bit. Blind spot monitor not only comes up on the mirror, but also comes up on my dash with blind spot view monitor. I love that feature on Hyundai products. It also shows up in my head-up display, so I know there's a car over here on my left without even having to look at my mirror. It just shows up on my head-up display, so I can keep my eyes on the road the whole time. It's really cool. It's really, really good head-up display here. Good safety technology from Hyundai. Passing power there to get around that Mustang convertible. I was like half pedal and it just like whoop. I know, oh man, that semi started coming into me. A really loud stretch of road here, and the IONIQ 9 is doing a great job with it. So very, very happy with the sound control here in town as well as on the freeway. Here it is. This is what I'm getting, about 2.6 miles per kilowatt hour at 75 miles an hour. In town, it was about 3.4. On the highway, 2.6. So, and we're going to underestimate that a little bit. Let's say it's 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour, because you're gonna have, if you're taking road trips, maybe you have kids in here. Maybe you have it loaded up with some other things. So I'm gonna subtract 2/10 on the kilowatt hours here, miles per kilowatt hour. So let's say 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour at 75 miles an hour, loaded up. All right, and then I'll put, best case scenario, just one person in here, which is 2.6. I'll give you both of those ranges. Looking at IONIQ 9s in my area, well, let's look at the trim levels first. What kind of shakeout are we seeing? Are we seeing the most of calligraphy? It looks like the calligraphy design that I tested, the very top end, just 3. Only 10 calligraphies. In total, there are only 112 IONIQ 9s in my area. SEL all-wheel drive and SE all-wheel drive. These are the volume trims, even more so than the limited. Okay, remember, these two have the 303 horsepower setup, for example. I think SEL looks good. I like the wheel arches on this trim, actually the best out of the whole lineup. Still $68,000. That's quite a bit of money. I know it's very capable. It's luxury-like, but I'm not getting the luxury experience maybe from the dealership, and I'm not getting maybe that luxury clout. It's unique design, but is it luxury clout? And what about an EV9? EV9 I prefer the looks of. I think both of them are pretty cool looking though. And so you have the EV9 as well. And the EV9 you can get for a lot less money, typically. All right, look at the light long range. All right, 53,000. Maybe that includes a tax credit for now. I'm not quite sure, but EV9 definitely worth looking at if you're looking at the IONIQ 9. Now, I really liked the ID Buzz. Very flawed, very inefficient. Not hardly any cargo space was laughable on it for a van. But you can get these for less money and have way more style if you want it, and better visibility. Again, you're not going to have the range. So it just comes down to, do you need the range? What kind of style are you looking after? This is a very good alternative. Again, it fails in every conceivable way versus the IONIQ 9 in terms of an EV, but it succeeds in style and unique and more fun to drive, even though it's not as fast. I had more fun driving this than the IONIQ 9. Again, the IONIQ 9 is a better vehicle overall, has less setbacks, less compromise. And the sliding doors on this are awesome for families. So don't even waste your time looking at a Volvo EX90 compared to the IONIQ9 or the Kia, for example. But what about the Palisade? Okay, the Palisade, guys, here's the new Palisade, just came out. SEL trim, $43,000. Smooth V6. Of course, it's not nearly as fast. You don't have any charging worries. You don't have to plan your trips accordingly. This is a fantastic buy, an insanely good buy, and I can't wait to drive it again when I get it in my press fleet, because when I was at the media drive, I was just blown away by the Palisade overall. I would take a Palisade over the IONIQ9 and save about 20 grand, maybe 30 grand in some instances, right? Because the one I drove was so expensive. All right, so with that being said, where does it end on this spreadsheet? I mean, for an EV, the only thing I can find to say about this vehicle that is not ideal, well, it's the price. It's just very, very expensive compared to obviously hybrid or gasoline counterparts. It is a very good car, though, a very good 3-row SUV. And, you know, if I were getting, I'd probably look at, of course, a 7-seater versus a 6-seater that we reviewed today. Look at the ID Buzz. The ID Buzz made it into bead category. And again, I had more fun driving the ID Buzz. And it just had so much more character. Yes, the IONIQ9 looks unique, I guess you could say, but is it something that I'm like, oh, I can't peel my eyes away from it like the ID Buzz? And, you know, the doors on the ID Buzz are better for families, getting kids in and out, but there are a lot of compromises with the ID Buzz, where the compromises on the IONIQ9 are few and far between for an EV, I should say. Okay, obviously there are compromises with an EV, with today's infrastructure and charging times and things like that. So it's not to take my money because it's too expensive. So is it an excellent purchase or a solid buy? I mean, this is just based off of my opinion. I don't think it's an excellent purchase. It's too expensive. I think it's a solid buy. There's nothing about it that I don't think, if you know an EV works for your lifestyle, I think it's a solid buy, but it is, again, very, very expensive. And I know that there's just not a lot of competition out there for it. I know. And so that the prices are going to be high if you want a 3-row EV. I mean, demand for these things is extraordinarily low, despite it being a very, very, very good EV. And it doesn't help that the EV tax credit's ending soon. So, you know, it's really good. It's really good. Would I rather have an Escalade over it? And the answer is yes, of course. All right, but that's a completely different vehicle, but they're both very expensive. Would I rather have a Kia Carnival for a family? And the answer is absolutely. Would I rather have the ID Buzz? And yes, I would rather have an ID Buzz than the IONIQ9. And that's just because I'm a sucker for the ID Buzz's looks, and I'm also a sucker for sliding doors. I mean, that goes a long ways for me with kid pickup and dropping kids off and just you getting kids in and out. It's so much easier. And it felt like it was better. It was set up with kids more in mind, the ID Buzz, believe it or not, than the IONIQ9 was, or at least in the calligraphy that I drove, which those seats in the back, I didn't like them. Too mechanized, too slow, and potentially could smash a kid. So I'll end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Is it a fire sale only for you, meaning you wouldn't buy it anywhere close to that sort of? That's the thing. Like, in order for me to consider it, it would have to be similar price to a Palisade fully loaded. And let me look at a Palisade fully loaded here. It'd be calligraphy all-wheel drive, $56K. It's 20 grand less expensive than a top-of-the-line IONIQ9, and it has almost identical features. It just doesn't accelerate as fast, right? And I have 3 seats in the back. That's a huge win for me in my situation. Being able to put 3 kids in the back is massive. And look at this interior. Doesn't it look familiar? That's right, because this interior is, I think, a better interior than the IONIQ9s, and it costs less. It's less glitzy and glammy and more practical, a little bit more understated. I'm a big fan of the Palisade, and I have a feeling when I review it, it's going to be S tier, but time will tell. I gotta put it in to testing once again. But I mean, this interior It's a bit fluffy with the mid-century modern styling around the dash, but it's a really, really, really nice interior. And it costs, and you could say it's equally as good, if not better, than the IONIQ 9s for 20 grand less. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. So also, you guys in the comments, do you agree with it being just a solid buy, nothing more, nothing less? Thank you guys for sticking around to the end of this review. It means a lot to me. And stay tuned, because this is just the beginning. I've reviewed over 70, well, about 70 vehicles so far this year, as we are in September. So by the end of it, we're going to be over 100 more than likely. And that's exciting. Yeah, I got more things coming down the hatch, lots of events coming up, and I can't wait to share more, especially with the Palisade hybrid, because if the current Palisade is already that good, if they deliver on the hybrid, it's going to be scary. But anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.